what you don't fundamentally realise is a variety of things. Far too many to list here. There's a whole library filled of many things that none of us know about. And yet what do? Do we go to the library? No. Some of us do, but not often. And when we do we read the whole book that we get out from there? Not always. Some of us do. But no one knows who they are, because they're probably always reading. So it's very confusing. Living in the modern world where all the answers are written down, but no one takes the time to go and seek the answers, instead enjoying the casting of aspersions online and the hurling of abuse to those they deem inferior for knowing more than they do regarding other topics that they have no idea about. This is the standard play of ops it appears to be in the ignorati that is humanity, as they gibber into their confused myopia of mortality, guffing regularly in their path. And so, it is with this said that I am in a field of acumen now, relishing the process of so many delightful aspects to my consciousness. Where does one begin to illustrate the riches Britain has brought to the world in the fields of furnishing one's mind? It's incalculable just how many positives and boons Britain has brought to the world in general as a benefit to any community. Now compare this to some rustic areas of the East or the Africas, where you might be frowned upon for arguing that they haven't evolved so much intellectually as to apply as many solutions physically in innovation and invention to the rest of the world using their God-given intellect, as perhaps the more post-war white, historical, educated community have been. There is nothing racist about what I've just said. It is the flow of history and of actuality. There's no stopping anyone. Like the Japanese. Look at them, they're going well, aren't they? They've got photographic labs coming out their backsides. They've got idea of lenses and computers and knowledge and printers and satellites. And I don't know if they've got satellites, but they've got all sorts of clever gizmos. And yet, they're foreign. Come on, that's a good joke. So you see, it's really more down to your social intelligence, how well your community thrives. And you can't blame Britain, modern Britain, for its history, unless you blame all nations for their history, and that's just retarded. You can't unpick the unpleasant seams of history to bribe and rip apart our own economy and modernity, because you're not achieving enough in your own nations on your own backsides. You're just trying to rip us all off. Right? And it's disgusting. And the cowards are accepting it. And I don't think we should accept it. I think we should wake up the four angels under the Euphrates. And I believe, their exact GPS location. And wipe out 2/3, no, is it a third or 2/3? Let's say a third of humanity, 2 billion people, with these four angels from God. And I think exactly where they are. Because I'm sick of this shit. The amount of evil fools in this world saying, oh, we're so righteous, and they're pure evil, is why that in the apocalypse so many people get nobbled. No, none of you have it right. You don't even know what I'm talking about when I talk of illumination, and you get scared and think I've gone weird. You're so stupid and ignorant. You're not even well read. Not even the public school, half of them are well read. They just did what they had to do to get by, but they never really read books in their spare time. Too thick. Honestly, if you don't get philosophy even at a microgram, you are an irrelevant turd. The word of God is colossal. The The word of Christ is vital. And without either, you have nothing, really. Hence atheism leads to nihilism. But with even a gram, less than a gram, a nanogram of knowledge of God, who is somehow ever-present and all-seeing and all-believing and knowing and loving, somehow, scientifically, don't ask me, well then that's a much better way to live, really, even if you're poor. Because you've got hope, you've got understanding of higher importance in the subliminal, and the way the substrata of the ether kind of coexists with our consciousness and our conscience. Because the very fact that when we sin we can't live with our conscience. We know when we've done wrong, and that's our conscience under some kind of God alarm system telling you, if you're not sitting well with your conscience, you have guilt. And until you repent and come through to work out how you're going to solve that guilt, you'll always have it hanging over you. And that is why I don't do much. Because if you go out there and do stuff, you tend to run into more temptation. And why it's actually quite easy not to lie. You don't win many friends because people are afraid of you for being someone who tells the truth, which I've never really squared. I just don't think they went to very good schools. We were all quite truthful at my school as far as I can remember. I don't remember particularly any ranting and raving liars or people talking crap. Everyone was pretty honest and above board on the whole, a little violent in their ebullient youth, but hey, they're public school boys from Bristol. That's how he built the empire, beating people up. Abroad, admittedly. But there we are. Such is history and the rich tapestry of violence and conquest and murder and mayhem and religion and folly and ignorance and evolution and science and creation and all sorts of empires throughout time, leading up to causal points in history which run the fabrication of the space-time influence at some microscopic level of retro time. And that's about all I have to say. You know, I really haven't got much to be having a problem with today. I find my mortality in question mark amazing, because if and when I die, it could be now, I could live for another 20, 30 years, 10, 20, 30 years, who knows. I have no idea at this juncture when I might pop my clothes. When I was young it was different. I kind of thought, yeah, I'll be fine, I'll live forever. But as I'm getting older, and the way I live my life, the chances are I can nobble at any time. But we hold on through faith. And I've lived longer than some people I know who didn't even smoke or drink. And they all died of different cancers or various ways. One was sadly a suicide. But that's all there is to it, really, I suppose, at the end of the day. We're here for a moment, breathing, thinking, working, wondering, loving, cogitating, imagining, singing, dancing, playing, laughing, and then we're gone. And a scientist would look at this process and think, well, if we all die, then that can't be a bad thing because it happens to everybody. So, what is the point in life if we die? Well, maybe that's the trick. Maybe the point is we're not meant to know the point until we die. And that's what happens to everyone. And it's not bad, because God is not that cool that he would do something to everybody without a massive load of people being saved. And if a massive load of people die but are still saved in the future in the resurrection, using some kind of alien genetic quantum reanimation program, which is perfectly scientifically feasible at one level of thinking, then this could be a very exciting prospect for a deeply evolved Uber future of high-tech wonders involving a better relationship with God the Almighty, which I would like to see, but not like in a sort of, what's that program from America where the Christian fundamentalists are in charge? And then they ban abortions because of whatever reason. And based on dogmatic exegesis of certain parts of the Bible, even though it says life begins at first breath. So, yeah, that one, that's the one I'm talking about. That's sci-fi. Can't remember what it's called. Sorry, letting you down, failing. I'm losing the game, and I cannot recall. It's a shame. I think life is often tiresome, dark, grueling, hard, miserable, shameful, painful, and woeful. Emotional, turmoil, threatening, horrific, scary, turbulent, and sad. Yet given this, one must indeed press on, valiantly, stiff upper lip, old boy, through the sufferance of time, and seek to better themselves in some form in order to benefit the community. This is how I've determined people make the money in society, legally, is generally by somehow bettering the community in a company-based environment. It involves working with others to a welfare-based scenario for a product or a solution or a service that is beneficial to the system of the host population of the planet, humanoids. Given our right, biblically under God, to be in charge of the animals and name the flowers and plants and things like that. Which is nice, I always think. If you've got a horticultural side to you. We're meant to be stewards of the earth, not rapers of the earth. Did you know that? That's biblical. So, don't mock the church when it comes to being stewards of the earth, when friends of the earth can't leave 4 or 5 fields clean at Glastonbury once a year. Alright? Stewards of the earth, like the simple guys out there who go and do their agriculture on the fields of Hampshire and Wiltshire and Shropshire and Somerset and Devon and all these amazing places of green verdant stretches of land for as far as the eye can see. And they're all catered for by the genii, the farmers, the agricultural people. And they may not be well educated at highfalutin academies, but my God, they tend to the land better than the people of Glastonbury could ever desire. Do you hear what I'm saying? This is very important. They are the stewards of Great Britain's earth, and they should be in charge of welfare for the land everywhere in this world. They're so good at their job, and they're undervalued, like the nurses were during Corona. Well, after Corona. During Corona, we all partied for 30 seconds every night. Public, on our street. Like, got a bit weird in the end, didn't it? Right, come on everyone, have fun! But yeah, I got into my trouble with the neighbours one night when we did that, because I decided it was such a cool thing when it began that I timed it to play an awesome track pumping out of my window when we all went to clap the nurses. And they should dutifully have been clapped, and more, and paid handsomely for their services. I couldn't handle a day in a busy hospital during a panic, given that I'm not particularly a fan of human beings. I mean, I know I'm a human being, but you know, some of them just, I can't really explain it. I don't want to be a snob or evil or horrible about matters, but I just, some people I can't abide. I just get this negative energy of vectors of these scary, dark people. And I think, go away and leave me alone. Have you noticed how you're often fine alone, and yet as soon as you bring someone new into the collective, your life is ruined because you've met a nutter, or an evil person, or a loser, or a thicko, or a criminal. Thankfully, it's not as bad yet as I sometimes imagine it could have been, but it's been bad. It's been quite bad sometimes. Anyway, seems to be all under the bridge for now, but you never know what might happen, do you? You just don't know what's around the corner in this world, and that's the magic. It's like, what the you know what I mean? What is going on? How do you compute all this? It's gotta be God.